Hello, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky Paper Crafts. Welcome back. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Not really. I actually kind of wish. Actually, I did earlier this week because it was so stinking hot here. It's finally starting to cool down. I can actually be in my craft room without feeling like I'm going to melt. But today we are making it look a little bit like Christmas. I'm getting ready for my Christmas in July, which will be July 25th. I'll be posting that on my Facebook page really soon. If you would like some information, subscribe to my email down below, and I will also be putting a blog post up really soon about that. Registration goes until July the 9th. So today we're going to be playing with poinsettia petals. It was my favorite stamp set in last year's Christmas catalog, and it was carried over to the annual. It will be featured, parts of it will be featured in my Christmas in July class. Now, for $25, you'll get all of the supplies to make the 4 cards, plus a little goodie bag as a token of my appreciation. I have got Whisper White, or Basic White now, ink. I've got my stamp. I've got my sentiment. This is Real Red marker. You can use the ink pad or re-inker if you would like, and a blender pen. And I've also got white embossing powder. So first things first, we are going to move our sentiment over to the side and try not to lose it today. You're going to ink up our poinsettia, get it really good and inked up. Now the staining on this is just because I stamped it in red ink. It does not transfer over once you clean it to any other color. Usually I like to do a bit of a stamp over first with Versamark or another light color. I forgot to with this one. Now, I'm going to quickly stamp. First, not stamp. I'm going to get my white embossing powder. Now the center I'm going to stamp, what color am I going to stamp that in? Probably crushed curry. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my heat tool, and there goes my trimmer. Now, the humidity has been crazy high here, so you will see that my paper is going to curl a little bit. But that's not a big deal, because if it does start to curl, all you need to do is flip it over to the other side and apply heat, and it will even itself out. Okay. So we've got our poinsettia stamped. Now I've got another little stamp block here. I'm just going to move my flower out of the way. Now with the brush end, I'm going to add a little bit of color, and then I'm going to pick it up with my blending tool. Okay, and then I'm just going to start gently flicking color. Now for this, I want kind of more of a washy watercolor look. So I'm not going to re-ink every single time. I'm just gonna keep building the color. I love red poinsettias. It's probably my favorite color of them all. I don't mind the pink ones, but if I had a choice, I would usually pick the red. And you can see, depending on how much ink you've loaded onto your blender pen and where you start, it picks up the highlights a little bit differently. So you can go back and pick it up. That's one of the things that I like about the watercolor look, is you can just add color and you can just keep building it up. Now, I usually, when I'm doing watercolor on paper that isn't watercolor paper, I don't like to go over it a ton. just because I found that it can pill a little bit and I don't really love the way that that looks. Okay. And really a little bit of ink goes an incredibly long way. And if you do get some ink onto the embossing powder, all you need to do is rub it and it'll come right off. Which also makes this a super quick technique. It's actually kind of hard to mess this one up, which is probably my favorite technique. Anything that looks like it took ages but doesn't really, and looks impressive but can be done quickly, I am all over that idea. Okay, so I'm not too worried that I'm getting a little bit lighter here with my color. Okay, and then to clean up your block, all you really need to do is either go over it with a paper towel or with just run it under some running water and you're good to go. Now with your blender pen, to get that clean, you just need to rub it off onto a scrap piece of paper until it's clear. And then you're on to your next project with that one. Now it is important to remember to clean your blender pen between use, because been there, done that. It'll create a bit of a mess. Now, I'm just gonna see if I've got the crushed curry exactly where I thought it was. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna show you a quick and easy labeling technique. So the Stampin' Up! Ink pads come with English, French, German, and Japanese. We don't have the Japanese market anymore, so I don't know if the ink pads are still coming with Japanese text on them. But what I like to do is put crushed curry, because I store my ink pads with this part facing out. I usually put the English, sometimes the French on this side, and then I label all of the other sides with the other languages. Doesn't matter if I understand it or not. No matter which way I've got the label on, and no matter which way my ink pad is facing, I know what color it is. And there's always one that is absolutely blank and has no words on it at all. So now I will know that no matter how I store this or where it's located on my desk, I will be able to see the color every single time. Okay, so open this guy up. I'm gonna grab my poinsettia center. It's a tiny little stamp, so I put it off to the side by itself. Okay, and then I'm just gonna plop it right there and lift it off. Okay, so if you've watched any of my coloring videos, you have probably heard me say that when I started, I didn't invest in all of the ink pads, and I honestly don't have all of the colors at this moment either. I invested in the markers, the sets, because they're so versatile and I love them. So I'm gonna bring this guy. One of my favorite things to do with the markers is to use them to color sentiments, so that if I'm just using a marker for coloring like I just did, I can just grab the marker and color over the sentiment. Now I'm only doing it in Real Red today because that's the color that I want to use for my card. But if you wanted to, you can actually alter the colors of the words on your stamp just by selectively coloring the letters or the words, whichever you prefer. And again, doing it this way, I find it gives the sentiment a really nice watercolor effect. Now these markers can sometimes dry fairly quickly, so all I do is a quick breath of air and then stamp it, and you should be good to go. So may magic and wonder bloom this holiday season. Now this is a quick and fairly simple card. If you wanted to, you can add some gems to it. You can, ooh, gold would be pretty. I don't have any super handy right now. But I do love the look of these epoxy gems. So I'm just going to do 3 random on my card just to give it a bit of something different. You could, now that we're finished, this is 5.5 by 4.25. You could cut it down by 1/4 of an inch and mat it onto gold would be beautiful. Mat it onto some real red. Cut this into just a strip and do a 4.25 by 5.5 banner at the back, but I'm just going to leave it the way it is because I love clean and simple cards for Christmas. So comment down below, let me know what you think, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you're notified every single time a new card is uploaded. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.